It has been another long day of driving. Man, Kazakhstan is a huge country. We're like 4 days on the road now, like 4 days of constant driving. And I think we may be halfway the country now, so it's just big. What are you doing?
I'm making the ground a bit flat, so it's going to be a bit more comfortable.
Something like a bit of exercises after a whole day of sitting in the car, yeah? And Alex, are you not tired yet of driving through Kazakhstan?
Yeah, I'm very tired.
But you've been driving the whole day today, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how long we drive for, like 5 hours?
A lot.
Our morning routine, packing everything up again. After driving across the Kazakh desert for 5 days, we arrived in an area which used to be a sea. Just 60 years ago, the area around the small town of Aralsk used to be filled with water, bringing tons of fishermen from the surrounding regions. In a bit less than 40 years, the sea dried up, leaving a huge desert in its place. Rumors said that the desert was scattered with shipwrecks, which made us very curious to go there. So we're now on our way to the ship graveyard. It's a bumpy road again, about 60 kilometers.
We had absolutely no idea where the shipwrecks were. So we drove through a small town and asked some of the local kids to point us in the right direction.
We're kind of in the middle of nowhere trying to find the shipwrecks. There used to be a sea here, but as you can see it's super dry, super sandy, and the road to the shipwrecks should be about 3 kilometers. But the road itself is not exactly a road anymore. It's super sandy. I'm now stuck with the car. Come on boys, push it! So all what you can see around me is desert, but this used to be a sea. Like how much it dried up, it's pretty crazy to think about it. It felt a bit strange to walk on what used to be a seabed. After a while, we arrived at the shipwrecks, only to discover that there wasn't much left of them. Many of the ships here had been partly dismantled for scrap metal, and others are slowly rusting away.
We decided to continue to the next town where we could see a shipyard of the former sea.
Another advantage of having a car. So along the way we don't only see horses and camels and cows and a lot of desert, we also come across these, and these are all cemeteries, and it's very interesting. Like every town has a cemetery, and sometimes we can just find a cemetery in the middle of nowhere, and they're quite beautiful. After a couple of hours on the road, we arrived in the town of Aral or Aralsk. This former fishing town used to be on the coast of the Aral Sea before it vanished decades ago.
So we're now walking across the town of Aralsk, and we're gonna go see an old shipyard, because maybe 7 years ago the sea used to come right up to the town, and now it's super dry because cotton farmers have been draining the sea bit by bit. So now here it's a desert, and it used to be a really big sea. As we were walking through town, we met an old fisherman who brought us to the shipyard. And this in front of us is what remains today of the Aral Sea.
Soviet planners wanted to turn Central Asia into the world's largest producer of cotton. They diverted the 2 rivers, who used to feed the Aral Sea, to the desert for the irrigation of the farmlands. By trying to build a cotton industry, the Soviet planners had destroyed an entire sea and its fishing industry.
So we have now arrived in Turkistan, and here it's already a lot more green, there's a lot more trees. It feels like we're out of the desert. Really cool. So what can we see here, Cynthia?
Trees.
No, apart from trees.
Turkestan used to be a very important commercial city on the Silk Road. What amazed us the most there was the mausoleum of Khoja Akhmet Yassawi. It was dedicated to the Turkic poet and Sufi mystic called Akhmet Yassawi, who made efforts to spread Islam in Central Asia. This mausoleum is now a major pilgrimage site and draws pilgrims from all over the Turkic world.
After meeting and chatting with some of those pilgrims, we were ready to hit the road again, this time towards our last city in Kazakhstan before crossing the border into Kyrgyzstan. We just crossed almost the whole of Kazakhstan. It was quite a journey, but we made it.
So after spending a couple of days in the desert and sleeping in a tent, it would be very nice to take a hot shower, wash all the dust from us and sleep